Coming up next, people in our area with close ties to Israel react to the devastating war back home.
It's Holocaust-level atrocities, it's Holocaust-level crimes.
Plus, a year after this chaotic scene at Penn State,
racist off campus!
The same controversial speakers coming back. How's the university preparing to keep people safe?
And a local food bank has big plans to help more people in need. The Center County Report starts now.
Good afternoon, I'm Jesse Wen.
And I'm John Calavita. Thanks for joining us for the Center County Report. Our top story, the escalating crisis in the Middle East and how it's affecting people right here in central Pennsylvania. As the Israeli military pounds Gaza, more than 1 million people have fled their homes ahead of an expected Israeli ground invasion. More than 4,000 people are dead in Israel and Gaza from the Hamas terror attack and the retaliation. And President Joe Biden is scheduled to visit Israel tomorrow.
Lots of people in our area have family ties to Israel and that region, and they're watching the developments closely. I talked with some of them about their strong reactions to the war.
It's Holocaust-level atrocities, it's Holocaust-level crimes.
As crisis deepens in the Middle East, the Israeli community here in State College is reeling from the loss of their loved ones in the surprise Hamas terror attack. Sharon grew up in a village in Israel's north. He says going about his day-to-day life is almost impossible knowing a war is escalating back home.
It's strange to park next to Beaver Stadium and talk to my dad who's in a bomb shelter, actively at the same time, hiding for his life.
Sharon isn't the only one whose heart breaks for the lives lost in the latest Israel-Hamas war. Benjamin Himmel is a Jewish student at Penn State whose friends are fighting the war on the front lines.
It's truly the interconnectedness of the Jewish people that shows how this impacts everyone, no matter where we are in the world.
Lior Sternfeld came to Penn State 8 years ago from Israel. The professor is back home right now on a research leave. Sternfeld said he woke up on October 7th to sirens warning of a missile attack.
I've never seen Israel or Jerusalem the way that I see it now. What we're going to see in the days ahead is going to be devastating, to say the least. I don't think that Israel or the Middle East can go back to what it was before October 7th.
Israel is warning civilians of a new phase in its war with the Islamist militant group Hamas. The Israeli government has ordered over 1 million residents of northern Gaza to leave home for their safety as its troops gear up at the border in response to Hamas's attack.
The situation is rapidly changing every day, and the world watches and hopes the war won't spread to other parts of the Middle East.
Penn State Hillel says students feeling overwhelmed by the situation can find resources at the Gutterman Family Center in downtown State College.
What's going on in the Middle East is the latest in a long and deeply complicated fight between bitter enemies. Reporter Olivia Jean breaks down the conflict between the Israelis and the Palestinians.
There is a long history, there is a long context.
The Israeli-Palestinian conflict reflects over 100 years of territorial struggle over land between the Jordan River to the east and the Mediterranean Sea to the west. The Gaza Strip, a Palestinian territory ruled by Hamas, borders Israel and Egypt. After World War II, the United Nations called for the split of Palestine into 2 states, one Jewish and one Arab. But Arabs felt splitting the land in half was unfair. In 1948, Israel declared independence while hundreds of thousands of Palestinians were expelled, many heading to Gaza. In 1967, Israel won the Six-Day War, capturing and occupying the West Bank and the Gaza Strip.
Some viewers may say, oh, you're saying they occupied it. That's a controversial term. It isn't. It's a technical term. It's used by the Israeli military.
The first Palestinian uprising happened in 1987, along with the emergence of the Palestinian extremist group Hamas and its goal of Israel's destruction. Peace talks in 1993 resulted in the Oslo Accords, which gave Palestinians some self-governance. But Hamas did not recognize the deal. In 1997, the United States designated Hamas as a terrorist organization. In 2000, a second Palestinian uprising began, lasting 5 years. 4,000 Palestinians and 1,000 Israelis died. Then, in 2005,
Israel withdrew completely from the Gaza Strip, no longer having a military presence there. Now, some people in Israel say that was the end of that occupation, right? Because Israel is no longer there. Others say, wait a second. It's still to some degree a sort of an occupation because you are controlling that piece of land from the outside.
Israel left Gaza but continued to have a large influence there.
Most people on both sides want to live in peace. It's really a matter of having a leadership on both sides that can reflect the wants and the needs of its population. If we can get to that, if the leadership of the Palestinians reflected that, and the leadership of the Israelis reflected that, then of course they can make peace.
In 2006, Hamas captured Gilad Shalit, an Israeli soldier. It sparked worldwide anger. Hamas quickly grew more dangerous and more powerful. During this time, tensions grew between Arabs and Jews. From 2008 to 2020, 5,590 Palestinians were killed, while 251 Israelis were killed. Attacks from both sides continue to kill innocent civilians, with the worst attack on Israel on October 7th.
Give everyone the benefit of the doubt and to understand we live in a gray world with a lot of complications, and to do their best to see both sides.
I'm Olivia Jean for the Center County Report.
And another new development. The Pentagon has sent prepared to deploy orders to about 2,000 U.S. troops to be ready to respond to the war if they're needed for support roles.
In other news, state police say they've identified at least one suspect in a deadly shooting that happened near Indiana University of Pennsylvania this month. The shooting left 1 dead and 8 injured at a community center during a private party. So far, no one has been arrested or charged. Police believe a confrontation between several people sparked the shooting.
1 year ago, Penn State canceled a controversial event over safety concerns when a protest turned hostile. One of the same speakers returns next week. Reporter Angelica Rubin takes a look at preparations.
I mean, you guys are the ones that are scared of free speech.
It's been a year since chaos erupted on Penn State's campus. An event featuring conservative commentator Alex Stein and Proud Boys founder Gavin McInnes was canceled by the university over threats of escalating violence.
After failed events this past spring to bring Stein back to campus, the organization is hosting the right-wing comedian next Monday for its 4th scheduled event on campus since it began in 2020. This year, Uncensored America says Stein will be joined by surprise guests in the Bryce Jordan Center. After last year's event ended with pepper spray and a heavy police presence, safety is again in the spotlight. Ford Fisher, founder and editor-in-chief of News to Share in Washington, covered last year's event. As the protests turned ugly, he says he was blinded by mace.
Open your eyes, open your eyes.
So I was incapacitated for about a half hour. I mean, I was essentially out of the game, so to speak, in terms of being able to film.
Fisher, who's covered extremism in U.S. politics since 2014, said what he found unique about the event was the number of police agencies involved and their lack of inaction after things turned violent.
Part of the problem was that the police did not have a de-escalatory kind of stance about it, which got the protesters who were out there more angry, because from their perspective, the police were not just sort of separating people and keeping the peace. I think they felt that the police were siding against them.
Penn State says it won't provide specific details about security plans, but did tell us tickets are required for the event. In a university statement to Center County Report said the university is required to do what it can to not only protect our community members, but also to protect speakers and prevent disruption or violence. Isabella Leahy was the only journalist on the scene to interview Stein, reporting for the Center County Report just last year.
Are you afraid right now? Do you feel
No, I'm actually excited. I like it. It's kind of an adrenaline rush.
She says Stein's tactics may change.
This time, I'm not too sure that he will go out there and start talking to protesters and people, because his main thing is to speak. He wants to speak.
The University Park Allocation Committee voted to provide over $7,000 to Uncensored America for the event. Students will get priority access. I'm Angelica Rubin for the Center County Report.
Last year's counter-protest was organized by the Student Committee for Defense and Solidarity. We reached out for comment on plans for this year's event, but received no response.
Some of the worst drivers in the state live in central Pennsylvania, according to a new study. The study evaluated driving behaviors and analyzed insurance quotes to determine driving quality throughout Pennsylvania. The top 10 worst drivers list was published by Quote Wizard, an insurance comparison research tool linked with LendingTree Network. The list shows Altoona ranked number 1 and State College ranked 9th. Pittsburgh is 6th and Harrisburg 10th.
The sun is finally back today, but will it stay that way? We check the forecast.
And a look back at Penn State's homecoming weekend. Also coming up, the growing need for food among people in need right here in our area. See how one group is trying to help. The State College Food Bank is getting ready to move out of the place it's called home for almost a decade. Reporter Brendan Conroy says a new multi-million-dollar campaign will help.
Twice a month, State College's Christ Lutheran Church turns the words of Sunday sermons into action, handing out food to help people in need.
They were not able to, and were not able to eat enough. And so it's been fantastic to be able to be the person who picks up for them.
Volunteers from the State College Food Bank program and the church are a key part of this mission. Now the State College Food Bank is thinking bigger is better. It's launched a $3 million campaign to move from its home on Atherton Street to a larger facility on Gerald Street.
Economic estimates tell us that we may have about another 5 to 7 years of this kind of shortfall for folks, so we're glad that we can be here to not only make ends meet, but give them good food.
Now the State College Food Bank is thinking bigger is better. It's launched a $3 million campaign to move from its home on Atherton Street to a larger facility on Gerald Street. Now, right behind me here is the construction of the new food bank location. This one is expected to be a lot larger in size and will in turn bring in a lot more people who are in need of food. Construction workers are hard at work, but the project is not fully expected to be done until the springtime. The main goal, meeting the needs of more people. The food bank served more than 1,000 people last month alone.
We've noticed that everyone who comes through the line isn't super anxious when they're here. They realize that this is a safe space for them no matter why they're here, and they feel loved and they tell other people. I think that's a hallmark of us knowing that the culture we've created is building that community that you've talked about.
Renovations are underway at the new location, which should open up next spring. In State College, I'm Brendan Conroy for the Center County Report.
The new financial campaign's goal is to allow the food bank to move into its new home and expand services debt-free.
Good afternoon, everybody. I am student meteorologist Jeremy Laguerre here for your forecast and taking a look above Penn State campus, taking a look above the Hub Robeson Center currently. Look at these gray skies. We're basically just all cloudy all across the sky right now. 52 degrees with mostly cloudy conditions. Winds out from the west-northwest at 6 miles an hour. This is basically how it's going to stay for most of the day. And right now, temperatures are in the 50s here in the State College area. Slightly cooler temperatures to our west, places like Johnstown right now at 45. And as we zoom out across the Commonwealth, we're seeing generally warmer temperatures to our east. Places like Philadelphia and Allentown are pushing 60 right now. But to our west, that's where you see those cooler temperatures. That's where you see those 40s on the map. And most places in Pennsylvania should hit 50 today, with the exception of southeastern portions of the state, which would be a little bit warmer. Now taking a look at our radar, as you can see down to the mid-Atlantic all the way up to the northeast, we have clouds around and we have those rain showers lingering around as well today. We can't rule out the chance of a shower today, but that shower chance is really going to ramp up as we go into the weekend. Now let's take a look at that. Going into tonight, we're going to see those clouds stick around. We can't rule out the chance of an isolated shower tonight, even though it's unlikely. As we go into tomorrow, those clouds are going to stick around. And as we go into tomorrow evening, you see we have those clouds around, but it's definitely less clouds than we have for today. Partly cloudy conditions are expected for tonight, so we're going to clear up just a little bit tomorrow. But then as we go into Thursday, that's when those clouds are really going to return. And Thursday into Thursday evening into Friday, that's when we're going to see those rain showers begin to move back into our area. And we're going to be seeing a very wet weekend. Taking a look at the big picture, as you can see, Friday morning, we got these rain showers and clouds moving into our area. Those will stick around for Saturday. As you can see, this huge system is going to bring us a whole lot of rain on Saturday, especially Friday night into Saturday. And then as we go into Sunday, we'll still have those clouds around, but less rain, but we can't rule out the chance of a lingering rain shower on Sunday. And then as we go into Monday, that's when we'll clear up for the beginning of next week. But for today, here in State College, 55 degrees with mostly cloudy skies, chance of isolated showers late. We're going to drop down to the 40s tonight with mostly cloudy conditions, and we'll have some patchy fog early tomorrow morning. As we go into tomorrow, high 59 expected with a little bit more sun out, high 59 degrees, partly sunny conditions. And taking a look at our 7-day forecast for today, we have those clouds around. We'll clear up a little bit for tomorrow, but those clouds will move back into our area on Thursday. Going into Friday, that's when that rain is going to return, and that rain's going to stick around for Saturday into Sunday. By the beginning of next week, we are mostly sunny. We'll clear up, and temperatures will be in the 50s for the beginning of next week.
Thanks, Jeremy. Seems like I got to pack my raincoat for the weekend. Now on to Matt Scalzo with sports.
Thanks, Jesse. Coming up next in sports, the Nittany Lions get ready for their biggest game of the year so far. We look back at their tune-up game on Saturday. Also ahead, Penn State men's hockey looks to stay unbeaten after a weekend road trip. That and more after the break. I'm Matt Scalzo with sports. The unbeaten and number 7 ranked Nittany Lions face their toughest test of the season this week against number 3 Ohio State. That's after an easy tune-up on Saturday when the Lions dismantled UMass. On a rainy Saturday evening when Penn State's offense and defense were rolling against UMass, it was the special teams that stole the show. Penn State was looking for a spark in the first quarter, and it came on a punt return from senior defensive back Daquan Hardy. On his first collegiate punt return, he took it 56 yards to the house, which set the tone the rest of the way.
I thought early on we had to get some things kind of cleaned up, but once we did, I thought we played balanced offense again tonight and complementary football. And then special teams, obviously the story of the night is Daquan Hardy.
Early in the second quarter, Drew Aller punched it in from 1 yard out, and then not long after, running back Katron Allen bullied his way into the end zone to make it 21-0 Penn State. Then right before halftime, Aller found tight end Tyler Warren over the middle to make it 28-0 Penn State heading into the break. Aller continued to find success at the start of the second half, finding fellow tight end Theo Johnson not once but twice for touchdowns, making it 42-0. Later on, Hardy showed he wasn't done yet. Late in the third quarter, he found daylight once again for his second punt return touchdown of the day, this one coming from 68 yards, becoming the first player in program history with 2 punt return touchdowns in the same game. Running back Trey Potts and backup quarterback Bo Perbula found pay dirt in the fourth quarter to cap off homecoming as Penn State went on to win 63-0. Penn State and Ohio State kick off on Saturday at noon. You can listen to the game live on Penn State Com Radio with our broadcast team in Columbus. Now to high school football. The State High Little Lions hosted Harrisburg over the weekend. After the whistle, reporter Jack Ryczinski breaks down the state semifinal rematch.
Harrisburg and State High have had some recent playoff history. The schools are just about an hour apart. The teams play every season. Memorial Field was ready for a rematch. And just like last year's state semifinal, Harrisburg got the win again. Harrisburg would score 3 touchdowns in the first half thanks to Sean Lee, Elias Koch, and Nehemiah Ewell.
It was an outstanding win on all fronts, but quarterback Sean Lee unlocked Harrisburg's full potential tonight. In addition to an emphasis on the passing attack that allowed for multiple big splash plays, Lee's dual threat presence allowed him to use his legs to move the ball down the field as well. This made Harrisburg a force to be reckoned with on this frigid October night here in State College.
That's a great defense, and they don't make many errors, but we're just doing what we do best and running the ball, and that opened up the pass game for us.
However, let's talk about that Harrisburg defense. Safety Quincy Brannon had 2 picks on the night, and the Harrisburg D would shut down State High's offensive prowess, securing the shutout.
Honestly, it was just our defense, like the way our coach set up our defense, honestly. We were playing cover 3, cover 2 for real, but halftime it was cover 3, and I just played my role.
Harrisburg hopes to build towards another playoff run with a road win against a tough State High squad.
You can see highlights and post-game reaction from this week's top games on After the Whistle, Friday at 11:30 on our Belisario Student Media YouTube channel. The Nittany Lions men's hockey team returns to Happy Valley for its home opener Friday at Pagula Ice Arena. Penn State is now 3-0 after sweeping a weekend road trip in New York. The Lions beat Clarkson 4-2 on Friday, and then St. Lawrence 4-1 on Saturday. They play AIC in a 2-game series this weekend. Penn State men's soccer takes on Rutgers tonight in New Jersey following a late comeback in their last match. The Nittany Lions broke out special original Penn State colors, black and pink, against number 12 Northwestern over the weekend. Justin Weiss broke through in the 35th minute for the Wildcats, but Penn State would tie it up in the 62nd minute off a Femi Awadesu header. And then Peter Mangione scored the game winner for Penn State to pick up a 2-1 victory. Philadelphia Phillies fans are celebrating a big Game 1 win from last night in the National League Championship Series. The Phils ambushed Arizona to the tune of 2 first-inning home runs from Kyle Schwarber and birthday boy Bryce Harper. Philly then hung on with strong pitching and won the game 5-3. Game 2 is tonight in Philly before the series heads to Arizona on Thursday. That's all for sports. Now back to Jesse and John.
Well, they've been saying it all across the Philadelphia area. 7 more wins, Topper. Thanks, Matt. Coming up next, a look at the sights and sounds of Penn State's homecoming, including an appearance by a legendary lady.
Thousands of people traveled from around the region to State College over the weekend for Penn State's homecoming events. Reporter Alyssa Wagner has more on the annual tradition.
Every year, Penn State alumni, fans, and students turn out downtown to watch the annual homecoming parade. As the floats move down College Avenue, transfer student Cammie Seaman was in awe.
I come from a really small school, so it was definitely a big difference coming here for Penn State's homecoming. There was so much energy, so much cool spirit. I really enjoyed it.
Candy was flying from floats, and there were performances for everyone to enjoy, including cheerleaders, the State College Roller Derby League, even some catabuses, and of course, the Blue Band. Immediately after the parade, another tradition began.
Every year after the homecoming parade, the Army ROTC will stand guard with the Lion sign throughout the night.
I just genuinely like the tradition of this. I mean, it's a very cool event to be kind of incorporated into a homecoming tradition.
And as people waited for their picture with the lion, posters lined the queue to educate them on Penn State history. Penn State's legendary lady, Sue Paterno, the reason this Guard the Lion shrine began, made a special appearance. She and some friends poured orange paint on the shrine to rile up fans for a homecoming game against Syracuse in 1966.
I said, we're home free.
And with that, a new tradition was born. In State College, I'm Alyssa Wagner for the Center County Report.
That's all for today's newscast. We hope you'll join us Friday for our next local news update.
And you can follow us anytime for breaking news on our Center County Report X. And you can see our stories on our Facebook page, Instagram, YouTube, and our website. Have a good afternoon.